So you're a monster hunter, eh? Then by now you're probably well and truly hooked on Monster Hunter World, Capcom's newest, most beautiful way to turn all your free time into hats for cats that look like dinosaurs. Clearly Monster Hunter World is a fine game indeed, but no matter how little or how much time you've spent playing so far, we reckon there are several things that you simply can't help doing. That is, of course, after you've spent 3 hours designing your perfect palico. Aww. The varied regions of Monster Hunter World are teeming not just with large beasts, but with smaller life forms too, from useful bugs to powerful plants. But if you've played the game, then you already know that, because your inventory is, we're willing to bet, absolutely bursting with bits and pieces you've scraped off the ground or dragged out of a bush. That's because the temptation to collect absolutely everything you come across in the wild is impossible to ignore. I mean, yes, we're clearly kind of busy right now, but are we really going to just let this potentially valuable stack of leaves go to waste? Of course not. Hang on, let me just... No, I can't throw any of this away. The problem is that with such a vast number of things to craft in the game, and potential ways to take down monsters, figuring out which collectibles are crucial for your character and which are more or less useless could be a life's work. On the plus side, presumably we can retire from the monster business altogether once we trade in all these needleberries. They must be valuable, right? Oh, nuts. You might think that the goal in Monster Hunter World is to level up your character, taking on bigger and tougher monsters around the new world, forging fresh equipment and acquiring a better understanding of the monster ecosystem along the way. But you'd be wrong, because the point of the game is winning the approval of this pig. The Poogie, a mainstay of the Monster Hunter series, is found snuffling cheerfully around the trade yard area of Xtra, having presumably made the difficult sea voyage to the new world without being eaten by the starving crew members. Perhaps he cut some sort of deal to be the last of his piggy friends to be eaten, or maybe he was deemed just too darned cute to be turned into bacon. Either way, the Poogie is here and ready for your affection, delivered by you via carefully timed button presses. If that was all the Poogie did, you might have a shot at playing the rest of the game, but sadly, you can improve your relationship with the Poogie through petting him every time you return from a quest. You can rename him, you can tweak his colour scheme, and, if you're really lucky, by carrying him around like a human baby, he might dig up items for you, or new Poogie outfits! Wow, not sure why they even bothered programming the other bits of the game, to be honest. Bringing down a large monster is all about teamwork, or at least not being the one team member who forgets to get out of the way of this. Sorry. And every well-placed hit is valuable, but there's one bit of the monster slaying process that's inarguably way cooler than all others, and that's the part where you get to rodeo on top of your target like Atreyu riding the luck dragon in the Never-Ending Story. I mean, if Atreyu was trying to stab the luck dragon hard in the back of the head, that is. Problem is, getting up to the top floor of a monster is no mean feat, which means you'll find yourself constantly looking around for vantage points to jump off from or climb up to in order to chance your luck at a successful mounting. Or, for hopeless attention seekers like me, there's always the choice to get more practiced with the peculiar insect glaive weapon, which lets you vault into the air for an extra shot at that sweet, sweet monster ride. Mounting the monster breaks its usual attack pattern, which can be a welcome spot of respite for everyone else on the team, is what you'll keep telling yourself every time you steal the limelight. Whee! Look everyone, I'm on a monster! Acquiring and upgrading better gear is crucial to getting ahead in Monster Hunter World, but for goodness sake, can't we do it with a little style? As you defeat monsters, you'll earn the privilege of turning their once worn body parts into fashionable new outfits. This probably isn't what those animals would have chosen, and certainly doesn't do any credit to the idea that you're out there slaughtering for research purposes, but damn if it doesn't provide you with a snazzy get-up. The problem is, while each of these sets looks incredible when complete, the effect of mixing and matching is often, well, less good. So, because each individual item requires its own set of monster parts, expect to put the brakes on the main quest as you kill the same beast over and over again in a desperate bid to not be dressed like you were caught in an explosion in a sports mascot costume factory. Of course, by the time your set is complete, you'll have found another outfit that looks even cooler, but it's got to be worth the grind, unless you want your hero to look like this in every cutscene.
When the time comes, you know what to do.
How is everyone taking him seriously? Monster Hunter World asks you to keep an awful lot of things in mind all at once. Health, stamina, buffs, the cooldown on your mantle, weapon sharpness, potion quantities, pre-hunting meals, palico abilities, the list goes on. And the most successful monster hunters are capable of juggling all these different aspects with ease, keeping every metaphorical plate spinning in perfect balance. And if that's you, then A, congratulations on your superhuman brain, please stop playing Monster Hunter and report directly to NASA, and B, tell the rest of us how you do it, because God knows we're always forgetting something in this game. Whether it's embarking on a massive hunt only to realise you forgot to buy any new potions in the trade yard before you left, or landing smack in the middle of a capture quest having failed to move all those traps and tranquilizers into your pouch beforehand, odds are at any given time you've definitely left something off your to-do list. Personally, I'm a real sucker for forgetting to get the enormous stats boost that comes from eating a meal before throwing down with a truck-sized lizard. Especially if you're responding to another hunter's SOS, where your first instinct will be to sprint out of camp and into the fray without popping to the canteen first. That said, correct me if I'm wrong, but aren't you supposed to wait 45 minutes after eating before getting stamped on by a dinosaur?
Okay, the monster's tired. Now's your chance to deal some serious damage.
Look, we're all here to cover up monsters. I mean, the clue's in the name of the game, right? But don't pretend you haven't felt a twinge of guilt charging up to a group of animals that otherwise couldn't give a fig about your presence in their home and wailing on them with enormous bladed weapons. Okay, that guilt is modified when the monster is the size of two houses stuck together and breathing fire, but even the most spectacular of beasts will eventually start limping in pain and trying to flee for its life, at which point two things happen. First, the game demands that you sprint after them to finish the job, and second, you realise, oh poop, I'm probably not the good guy in this situation. Of course, the bad feels that come with butchering these animals can be modified by relying on non-lethal takedowns involving traps and tranquilizers. Reducing a monster's sentence to life in captivity rather than actual death, although you still come away from these encounters with a suspiciously large amount of body parts. How does that happen? Ultimately, I think it's the incredible creature design that lies at the root of this guilt. I mean, for God's sake, this Kulu Yaku has learned to use tools, and it looks remarkably like a dodo, an animal that in real life was hunted to extinction by sailors who rocked up on its native shores.
Well, if we don't take care of that pest, the camp won't last a night.
And oh, while we're pointing the finger, the handler could stand to be a bit less relentlessly cheery about the grim business of monster murder.
When in doubt, burn them out.
Seriously, this is starting to get creepy. Would it kill you to treat this moment with a bit of solemnity?
Nice work, partner. Let's hurry back to the research base. I'm starving.
I bet you are, for the blood of the innocent. Oh God, what is this game? The monsters may be the stars of this game, but the world they occupy deserves a Best Supporting Oscar for so frequently blowing our minds. While it's never the most important task on your to-do list, we're willing to bet that more than one side quest has been kept waiting because you got distracted watching the light play through the jungle canopy or admiring a seaside view. Oh, so pretty. Ow! Geez, monsters, I'm actually having a very wistful moment here if you don't mind. Best of all is the hub world of Xtra, which is so scenic you'll never want to leave. Don't try and tell us you've never missed the fact that your quest is loaded and ready to go, because the ocean skies are putting on a particularly fine light show. Yeah, guys, I'll be there in a minute. Just gotta get this for the gram. Kudos to Capcom for creating a game world so gorgeous we can't help but stop and just enjoy the ambience. Although, please note, this praise does not apply to the Rotten Vale. That place is gross. Ew. So those are just some of the things you can't help doing in Monster Hunter World, but are there any we missed? Shout in the comments if so, to keep your fellow hunters informed. Alright, that's the video over. You can go back to farming bits of Anjanath now. Oh, you're still here. Well, thanks for watching. And please consider subscribing if you enjoyed this, then hit that notification bell to make sure you know whenever we've got a new video for you to enjoy. Alright, happy hunting, and by that we of course mean Poogie petting.